Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm thrilled. I'm already recording because I'm the queen of doing these things and not hitting record. So, just so you know, we are on. I'm going to do a little bit of an intro and then get right into it. I think we have until 9:40 together, so I'm excited for the conversation we're going to have.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
All right, here we go. It is KJ today, your positive vibe show, and we are about to get all up in those vibes as my celebrity guest this morning is Matt Fraser. He is a medium and best-selling author. His latest book, We Never Die: Secrets of the Afterlife, is out. And Matt, we are getting into what people like to call spooky season, but I know for you, you are not only so talented with your gift, but you're always educating people on the healing power of connecting with your loved ones. So let's talk about how that plays into spooky season and what you have planned for us.
Well, what I'm hoping is that people start to realize it's not just spooky season, right? It's a time when heaven is closer to us here on earth. What's amazing is that Halloween is actually a time when the veil between heaven and earth becomes its thinnest. And what the veil is it's a literal membrane that separates our world from the spirit world. And what's really cool is that our loved ones in spirit are trying to reach us every single day, but they speak in a different language, and that is through signs. So signs are things that you see that remind you of a loved one that had passed away. It could be dragonflies, butterflies, repeating numbers like 1111, dreams, songs that remind you of a loved one. And these are all ways that your loved ones are kind of breaking through the barrier to get in touch with us here in this world. So what I'm really hoping is that during this heightened time when the spirits are really strong, that people will start to really look into their own psychic ability and figure out the best way to connect with their loved ones themselves.
And, what is that? Where does someone begin with tapping into that psychic ability if they have never thought that it's there?
Well, first of all, I can tell you that we all have psychic ability. There is psychic ability in all of us. It's that feeling that you get that the phone's going to ring and next thing you know it does. Or that feeling that you get when someone pops in your head that you haven't seen in 10 years, 5 years, and you're like, oh, that's weird. I'm thinking about them today. And then next thing you know, you run into them at the store, right? That's your psychic ability. Your psychic ability many times hides itself through our feelings, right? When you meet someone for the first time, you can tell if that person's a good person, if they're a bad person, if they're telling the truth, if they're lying to you. These feelings don't just come from us. These are little messages that we're getting from our spirit guide, our guardian angel, and our loved ones on the other side. So what's really amazing is that the more that you listen to that inner voice, the more that you realize that it's literally like a muscle that you can develop. That's what psychic ability is. It's an inner muscle that's within all of us, a phone line, if you will, that helps us communicate and feel those we love. But what I also want to tell people is the ways not to communicate with the spirit world, because there are good ways, but then also during this time of Halloween, there's also we call unsafe mediumship, which is bad ways to communicate with your loved ones in spirit. And what I want to urge people is to stay away from Ouija boards. Ask just 10 people around you what their thoughts of Ouija boards are, and I guarantee you will run into a couple of people who've had some really bad experiences.
It is, it's so interesting. I think everyone's had some sort of experience, or even if it's just the experience of being told, like, don't touch the Ouija board. I remember my great grandmother had one, and it was in the upstairs room that we weren't supposed to go in, and it was like, why did you tell us it was there? Right? Like, now we want to go, but we never went. And it's always interesting. I work too, Matt, in energy. I'm a Reiki healer, and so encouraging people to keep that negative energy away and embrace the positive energy. It can make such a difference, and you are going to be doing that if people want to tap in this Halloween season. You started, because I know that your list got so long with private readings that you just couldn't do it anymore, and you started doing these Zoom readings where you could get more people through, and now you're taking it even further. And tell us about the Halloween special that you and your mother, who's also a medium, have planned for us.
Yeah, so what's really cool is that the gift of psychic ability has run in my family for quite some time. It started with my grandmother, who passed it on to my mom, and who passed it on to me. But what's really cool is that my grandmother, my mom, and I are completely different psychics and mediums. We all have different, very different and unique gifts. So my mom is the one who really helped me to embrace my ability from when I was just a little kid. And, for years and years and years, people have been saying to me, Matt, do you and your mom ever do readings with one another? Do you and your mom ever do events with one another? And we never have. We've never put our abilities together in that way. But you know what? We were like, let's do something different. So for Halloween, we're doing a Halloween psychic seance where me and my mom are coming together and putting both of our psychic abilities together, doing readings, answering your questions about the other side. But we're also going to be teaching you how to tap in at the time when the spirit world is the strongest. And first of all, I got to tell you, when everybody heard that we were doing a psychic seance, people were literally freaking out. They were like, Matt, what are you turning over to the dark side? I thought psychic seances were bad. And what I want you guys to know is that the same way that, you see it on television isn't actually what happens during a seance. Now, there are times with ghost hunters and things like that. They'll do a seance to try to get in touch with evil spirits and negative souls and things like that. But what me and my mom are doing is actually the opposite. We're bringing everybody together because I know a lot of people have their own psychic strengths and abilities, and we're bringing everybody together all at once on Zoom, and all together, we're going to be using our abilities to safely connect with the spirit worlds. And me and my mom are also going to teach psychic protection techniques as well, which are the same techniques that we use in our family when communicating with the other side, because there's a higher vibration and there's a lower vibration. So meaning that there's souls that make it to heaven, like our loved ones that are watching over us. And then there's souls that, unfortunately are truly evil, that don't transition on, that don't pass on to the other side. And that's the saddest thing. But me and my mom are going to be teaching during this event how to make sure that you're only staying in that positive vibration.
I had so many people today that were so excited that we were going to be having this conversation. And, what was interesting is that, none of them were like, will you do a reading for me? It was all about learning from you. I think, Matt, a credit to you, between, your reality show and your books and everything that you've done, that encouragement of embracing the positive and knowing that you too can connect to your loved ones is really coming through. Samantha wanted to know, she said she's got these butterflies that keep coming through, and what she said was she can't, necessarily like think of like what loved one would send her butterflies. Do you have some advice when you know that you're getting a message, but you're frustrated because you can't zero in on what that message is?
Absolutely. So listen, this happens all the time, right? And this is how you know when it's time to go see a medium. When you start getting signs and you know it's a sign, but you can't place who's sending it to you, it means that there's someone in spirit that's trying to get your attention. So listen, sometimes the signs aren't cut and dry, but you know that it's real when it keeps happening and happening and happening and happening and happening again. So what I can tell you is that sometimes the reason why people can't place a sign is that it might be somebody that's out of your wheelhouse, right? So for example, you might be thinking about your mom that had died or your dad that had died, but really it might be a stepsister that had passed, a coworker that had passed. Maybe there was someone from your past or someone from your childhood that's sending you that sign because there was something that was left unsaid. Right? That's one of the reasons why your loved one sends signs. Signs are a reminder that they're ready to come through and trying to reach you. And that's also where I come in as a psychic medium. I can tell you that when you're getting those signs and you don't know who's sending them to you, you should really go and see a medium because, having the gift and ability, we can really tune in and see who's sending you that sign and what the message is, and why they're coming through. And that's the fun part.
How often for you, Matt, do you make that connection and that person on the other side is like, oh, thank goodness you're here. I've been trying to get him to pay attention to me.
Oh my God, all the time. I was actually just doing a reading. I was at a live show in New York, and it was funny because I was telling the woman I was connecting with, I'm like, your dad is telling me he's been trying to reach you all the time with signs. And she looked at me and she goes, signs? No, I don't get any signs. I have no signs from my dad. And then her dad was saying to her, hey, I sent her the birds. Let her know I come to her in birds. So I'm like, oh, your dad's telling me, he sends you birds. And she's like, birds. Why would he send me birds? And then all of a sudden her sister was on the side of her and she goes, oh, don't you remember? She's like, when dad died, she's like, we got all of these beautiful flower arrangements, and each one of the family members all had these flower arrangements delivered to the funeral home, and each one had a different bird on it because her father loved birds. So her dad, when he died, thought, hey, they made my funeral all about birds. When I die, that's the sign I'll use. I'll use signs and birds to be able to reach them. And it completely just went over their head. They had no idea that it was their father in spirit that was sending them that sign. And it's funny because, you know, I see this happen quite a bit where people are like, no, I don't get messages from my dad. No, I don't get messages from my mom. And then that aha moment comes up and they're like, wait, that was them? That was my dad? That was my mom? Oh my God, I can't believe it.
I got goosebumps as you were saying that. Like, what an amazing way for that father to come through and then to be like, you guys, the birds. Like, how'd you forget the birds? Oh, I love it. So let's talk a little bit about. I work a lot with pets. I'm the kitty correspondent for Pet Pals TV, which is a nationally syndicated show, and I get the questions about pets. Do you feel pets coming through often, and how do you sense how they communicate?
Oh yeah, so pets communicate just like any other soul. And it's actually funny because I'm not a pet medium, but pets do come through to me. So it's very, very common for when I'm doing a reading for someone that their pets will come through. You know, I'll see pets with a grandfather that had passed, sister that had passed, mother that had passed. And what's so funny is that, you know, when your pets transition on to heaven, they are part of the family. When you adopt them here in this world, you adopt them into your spirit family as well. So what's amazing is this, is that during those times when I'm connecting with pets, oftentimes what's so beautiful is that they'll show me that they're waiting for you with those family members that have passed on the other side.
That is amazing. I want to go back to the family connection a little bit, Matt, because it is really impressive that you have this line of your grandmother, your mother, and you, but you all have different gifts. Can you talk about how did your grandmother and mother help you when they realized, oh, he's got something different from us?
So that was really hard, right? Because my grandmother, when she was growing up, she would always get premonitions and omens and things, right? She would see things before they would happen. You know, she would get warning signs from spirit and things of that nature. But my grandmother actually learned to expand her gift. She actually made her own set of tarot cards that were handmade, right, with her own signs and symbols on them. And that's what she would use when she had to do a reading. But you got to know that my grandmother kept this very hidden. It was a very different time. She only did this for close friends and family members. And my mom grew up with the gift of I call it psychic life reading, where my mom can go and see something about a person's life. She can sense spirit, but the main way that she's psychic is that she can go and see, you know, who your soulmate is, where you're going to be in 5 years, if you're going to get that job, where you're going to be, you know, what house you're going to move to, that type of thing. So it's really interesting because the messages all come from the same place. They all come from our guides, our angels, and our loved ones on the other side. But it's all about how you channel and, you know, what ways you tap in to get that information. So, you know, every day as a medium, I can tell you I'm still learning. I'm still learning about my own gift. I'm still learning how to communicate. I don't know everything there is to know about death and dying and spirit communication. And I'll never know, because the thing is that when it comes to the other side, every single time I'm doing a reading, the souls have something different to say. The souls have, you know, a different story to tell. And what's amazing is that seeing what they've went through helps me to learn so much about heaven and the afterlife and the other side.
So let's go back to the special so that people know how to tune in, how to join you on October 30th for this amazing seance that you're doing with your mother.
Yeah, so space is limited. If you want to join me, the online psychic seance is happening on October 30th, the night before Halloween. That's a time when the spirit world is the strongest. And if you want to attend, just go to meetmattfraser.com and click on online readings. So during this event, what's so amazing is that it doesn't matter where you live. You can attend from anywhere. And you can attend using your cell phone, using your computer, using your tablet. It's going to be an amazing, uplifting experience. So I really hope to see you there. And also on that same page, there's some online readings where you can join me for a live online reading as well, right from your own home. So there's definitely different events on there. I definitely think that's important for anyone to go and check it out, because you never know when there's a message from your loved one that's waiting to come through.
And I just want to add in there for people who are like, how is he doing this online? It's all about energy, right?
Well, what's really cool is doing this psychic seance online, right? I see you guys and you guys see me. So what happens is that my camera turns on, your camera turns on your iPhone or iPad or whatever it is that you're using. And we're all there with one another, even though we're not in the same room. And because spirits are everywhere, they can come through online. I mean, it's funny. I get this question all the time. All the time people say to me, Matt, how is it that you're able to do readings online? And I'm like, have you not seen my YouTube page? Have you not seen my Facebook page? Like, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of readings that I've done live online. You know, you can check them out on YouTube. You can check them out on Facebook. However you get online, it's that same experience. The moment that you appear on the computer, it's no different. Your loved ones in spirit are there.
Well, I saw a question come in. Melissa said she just got to where she's getting these psychic abilities, and she's got so many people coming through. Can you give her a quick tip on, how she filters that out?
So the best way to do it is to ask the soul's question. Ask who they are, what the messages are, because what I've learned is that once the souls deliver their messages, that's it. They leave you alone. Right. So sometimes I even found myself before I go to bed, there being a soul that's around me that has something to say to somebody. And I get out my little notepad and I write down what the message is, and I go right back to sleep, because I know that they're going to bother me until that message is heard. So once you listen to the message and validate and accept the message, right, it goes away. It's almost like bill collectors, right? They'll keep sending those bills to your house until you finally stick a check in the mail or validate that you got them, and that's it. You don't hear from them for a while. So that's the best way we're dealing with that.
All right. Thank you so much, Matt. I appreciate your time today. It's been a wonderful conversation. We look forward to October 30th and the psychic seance with you and your mother, and would love to have you back anytime on the show.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us for another celebrity interview. Of course, the KJ Today Show isn't just about talking to celebs, it's about hanging out with you. Join us live on Wednesday nights for pop culture, people to know, and pets. The KJ Today Show on YouTube. Subscribe and watch live Wednesday nights at 7.